Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. It's Christmas time. We have hats, long hair, tea, which is very Christmassy, and a beeswax candle that we made ourselves, which might die in a second because the wick ran out. As part of Bookmas.
Or the 12 days.
Or the 12 days of Bookmas, or the books to...
Whatever. But Christmas books.
We're doing a various series of books about books.
Videos about books.
Videos about books. And this one is going to be the worst books that we have read in 2021. And boy, we read a lot of stinkers.
It's not been a good year.
It's not been a good year. But first of all, do be sure to subscribe to the channel if you'd like more book content or weird lifestyle things that we seem to do. The aesthetic is usually this background and this hair.
Us.
And us. Okay, so who should start?
Worst books.
The worst books we've read in 2021. We decided on 3.
I'm doing mine in order.
Okay.
And so I think we should both start, because I have a feeling that this one
Yes.
is a worst for both of us.
This is George Orwell's A Clergyman's Daughter, which we read for our monthly bookathon. Readathon. We haven't got a name.
No.
And I DNF'd it. Olivia did not DNF it. And it just sucks. It just sucked. It's not fun. It's not interesting. It's written all right, because it's Orwell. But it's boring and I didn't like it.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
There's nothing else to say.
It's got some good chapters.
It's super boring.
It's got some good chapters if you're interested in those things. Hot picking, interesting.
Yeah.
The one where she's a teacher, interesting.
Hot picking, cool.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's boring.
The other ones, I don't even remember what they were, but they were boring. And that weird little musical in Trafalgar Square in the middle really didn't help.
Didn't get that far. I quit before this.
Wise. It took me longer to get through that, and that was one chapter in the middle. It was meant to be the intermission, than it did to get through the rest of the book.
Don't read it. It sucks.
Even Orwell didn't like it.
This is both of our thirds. I think.
I was doing them in order. This is probably, from the ones I'm going to talk about, this is probably my number 3. Yeah.
Okay, so that's my number 3 as well.
Yeah. We've got a whole video on this.
Oh yeah, a link will be in the description or up here, there, possibly. It should be in the top right hand corner, probably. We'll see. Go on, I'll start.
Go on then.
Alright, my number 2, I unfortunately do not have it, or maybe I'll remember to put up an image on the screen, is Hitler's War by Harry Turtledove. And it sucks. It's not good. I love historical fiction. I think it's a really wonderful genre, and I love alt history. It's a story that takes place in a world where World War II began basically a year earlier with the invasion of Czechoslovakia. An assassination happens, like in Archduke Franz Ferdinand in World War I, and kicks off the war early, so everything happens in the war, but it's just a year earlier. That's cool. What could happen differently? And also, Franco's not in charge of Spain, right? That'd be really cool. Except everything just goes normal. There's no difference. Other than the fact that, like, a little bit of the weaponry is different. Everyone does the same plans, everyone does the same thing. The only difference is that Poland weirdly half joins the Axis. But it's crap. It's written by a juvenile writer who can't seem to understand that there are more characters than tough grizzled sergeant, rookie that smokes a lot, and woman who resists authority. Everyone is that. That's it. Literally there's like 12 characters. They're all the same.
My theory with this book, from what you told me, is he really wanted to write World War II fiction.
Yeah.
But didn't want to be criticised for getting things wrong. So decided it's alt history, but didn't really have an alt history.
There's no way Fall Gelb would happen the same way in a year prior. The plan wasn't even invented yet.
This isn't someone that started with the idea of I want to write an alt history because this would be cool and this would be cool and this would be cool.
There's no plans of 3s.
Just like, how can I write World War II fiction without being criticised? I know.
It'd be completely different. However, I still really love it, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the other ones as well, and that might sound strange, but that's what's going to happen.
So one of your worst reads of the year is something that you still love?
Yeah, genuinely. I love it and I hate it. I actually don't love it. I actually just kind of like it. I find it interesting. I want to know more, and I know there's actually a bit of a meme on the historical YouTube sphere where reading Turtledove and being like, what? Why does this happen? It's just dumb. But I like it and I don't like it. Enough that it's on my number 2 of worst book of 2021, yet I'm still gonna read the next one. I've already bought it, so I'm into it. It sucks. Your turn.
How to Kill Your Family.
You complain about this a lot.
I couldn't finish this. I had to put this down. This was such an interesting premise, and it was, she is in prison for a crime that she didn't commit, but has actually committed multiple murders, them being her fammy. Very nice.
This is like when you do at a concert, singing a good song.
So yeah, kind of interesting, meant to be quite casual, kind of...
Yeah.
Yeah. It started off okay, had some cool moments, really benefited from the fact that the character lives in London, was making these references that I think maybe you would only get if you lived in like London or the South East. It was kind of cool, it was endearing, it was funny, it was lighthearted, and then it was just all downhill. You learn that actually she's not killing her family, she's killing her dad, who she's never met, and his wider family.
Oh, so she just murders everybody. I haven't read it. We tell each other about all the books.
Basically, she's really bitter because her dad is like a multi-millionaire, but he was having an affair. And so he doesn't want his real family to know about her because obviously that would reveal the affair. So he just completely washed his hands of it, has had nothing to do with her since the day she was born. And then her mum dies when she's a teenager and she's brought up by kind of like family friend and some other friends, and she's very bitter about this. And so she decides that she's going to learn about her dad, kill her dad, but also kill the wider family for seemingly for the inheritance.
Yeah, somebody told me really upset me about this. Yeah,
but also for revenge. But what the problem with it is that her dad has wronged her. Right, that still doesn't result in death, but fine, that seems to be the character's approach. But no one else has wronged her. She's
just related to them.
She's going to kill her half-sister, who doesn't know she exists. She's going to kill who would be her cousin. But again, he doesn't know that she exists, and on top of that he has also distanced himself from this family as he's got older, and he's actually gone off to live kind of a completely alternative life to the life that the rest of the family members live. And so she is just seemingly killing random people, which is bad enough and unlikable enough, but then the other problem is she's a completely unlikable character. She is just negative and horrible to people, but for no reason other than to be negative and horrible to people. She'll just randomly criticise people that have done nothing wrong and aren't, like, just for no reason. She's just a really horrible, toxic person. So you just can't like her.
Yeah, and I couldn't. That sounds awful.
And so the problem is, it's like, okay, fine, she's killing people that you don't agree she should be killing. If she was not even relatable is not the right word, but just likeable for what she was. But she's not. She's just toxic. You don't care about her. You don't care about, like, also the chapters are really drawn out. It flits between her killing one of the family members. Like, each murder is not just a simple murder. It comes with like an extravagant plot. And then the next chapter will be her in the current time in prison. And then you'll go to the next family murder and then back to prison. And it's just the murder chapters are just so drawn out and you just don't care. You're like, I can see where this is going. Get on with it.
I can see this is going to lead to the next one she hates.
I got halfway through and I realised I didn't care, and
we're only on the surface for so long. I'm a big proponent of not finishing books if you don't like them. Olivia very rarely does that.
I like to finish books because I feel like even if it's bad, there is normally something to be gained from it. Or even if you're not enjoying it, you still want to know how it ended. Like, that was like with this. Like, I wasn't really enjoying it, but I wanted to know how it was going to end. Didn't really get the mystery solved at the end, so that was bad
example.
But you want to. Whereas with this one, I was like, I just don't care. I just want it to be out of my life.
I was going to read it as well until she got about 20% of the way through and she was like, don't read this. You're going to throw it out the window.
And I think it's got a lot of bad reviews, and I think it's something, this only came out like, 6 months ago? And they have already rebranded the cover, and it's out again in a hardback, and they're like trying to really push it. So I don't think it's done very well. Terrible book, and I'm now stuck with a hardback copy of it that costs like £14.
Oh Jesus! Sell it to some moron. Speaking of books that are designed to sell to morons, my number one pick is, and we already have a review of it, Sally Rooney's Beautiful World, Where Are You? Where is it? It's not in here. This is the most trite, ridiculous text I've ever read. I've had the misfortune to read this cover to cover as a result of wanting to review it. And indeed, we've folded it over multiple times. Not sure how well it's going to pick that up. But really pick it up, well. To indicate times where we go, what? Sorry? Excuse me? It's filled with trite crap writing, attempting to be weirdly, like, touching, and yet it just isn't. The characters are both identical and equally stupid. They're just women. I
had random chapters in this where I had to go to the end of the chapter to work out which one of the characters it was that was talking, because you can't tell them apart.
It's so conceited and faux intelligent, and all the men are just so weird. Like, I don't know, well, I don't want to meet the men in Sally Rooney's life. Isn't she married? I do not want to meet him.
Yeah.
But all the men are just terrible. The main romantic interest in this book is this grunting twat.
Well, he just
abuses her mentally, almost physically, and just It's horrible. There's no physical description to him other than he's tall. Wow. And that's like, I think that's played for a joke slightly, but no, that is actually all they care about. And he has nothing interesting to say about him. He's just an uneducated, uninteresting twat with nothing to contribute. And yeah, everyone just wants to literally suck his dick.
You really hated this book.
I hated this book. I really hated it. I was enjoying it, thinking at the time, I was like, okay, I have problems with it. And as it went on, it just got pew! It just got stupider and stupider. And then the resolution, we've talked about this in our own review, so linked in the description. But resolution, the men, we need men. Men cure everything. I'm going to be a housewife and have a baby. And I need a man. That's it. The end. That's it. Then nothing happens.
No,
and then they rewrite the ending to be COVID friendly.
Yeah, that's the bit that annoyed me the most about the ending.
I hate this text.
Don't rewrite your books to fit in with COVID.
I hate it. It's so obviously marketed for the people who would read this at the pool and go, oh, fair enough, and then throw it in the water and then get up and go bang the pool boy. It's just trite. I'm done.
Gonna read Conversation with Friends then?
I will read Conversation with Friends and I will review it and put it on this channel and probably cry. Oh, I hate this book so much. I actually hate it. Alright, your turn. I'm sorry.
Moving on to the terrible book, The Imaginary Friend. Are you okay with that?
I am, alright. For context of this, Olivia finished it today because she wanted to put it in this video.
After starting it 3 months ago, I think.
I mean, look at this thing. Put it up.
No,
it's
not,
huge.
it's not the length that's
no, I know
the
that
problem.
too,
It's the fact that it sat on a shelf for a month and a half while I looked at it going, oh, I've got to finish that. So you like to finish books?
I've been listening to Olivia read it. We're audible people. We like to communicate how we feel. We read at breakfast. Olivia will be reading behind me sometimes when I'm on my computer. And every now and then I'll just hear, what does that mean? Get on with it! Just randomly throughout the day. I've never seen you more angry reading a book.
Really?
I've never seen you more like visibly frustrated, yeah. Not angry,
Really?
but just
Okay.
irritated.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Your like face when you read it, like I look up at your breakfast, I can see her face just like just this kind of, oh, this is not good.
No, this is terrible. This is
Yeah.
absolutely terrible. If it wasn't for the author, I don't think it would have sold. Okay, well, I didn't really know much going into it, and picked it up
I thought it was King.
just because of the author. I feel like it wants to be king.
Yeah.
The author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Really enjoyed that. Was kind of excited, but I was like, oh, he actually wrote another book, and it only came out, I think this came out end of 2019. Got really excited. I don't want to learn any more about it. Let's just read it. Wasn't actually expecting it to be 800 pages, I think, but whatever. Starts off quite strong. It starts off feeling like it does want to be a King novel. Little boy moves, well, him and his mum moved to this new town, and it focuses on the little boy, him trying to fit in at school, trying to find his feet. It makes it very clear that they have just escaped the mother's abusive relationship. Focuses a bit on that, and then he goes missing, and he's gone for 6 days, and he comes back. And it seems to be about mental health to start with. He's hearing voices. He's obviously traumatised. He found his dad when he was younger after his dad killed himself. Then his mum's bounced from abusive relationship to abusive relationship. Now they're in this town. It's like this setup for there's some mental health problems here. And this poor little boy is clearly traumatised. That's interesting. And then it kind of shifts, and it seems to then become maybe more, or what I thought was more about the fact that the woods at the back of their house is being destroyed and turned into a housing development by this rich family that live in town. And it was making some interesting commentary on that, and about the fact that these woods seem to be protecting themselves. Like, it's going to be horror, but it seems like these woods are kind of like these mystical woods that are using the boy almost as a tool to protect themselves. And they managed to get the construction paused for a while, and again it's like, okay, right, what's this doing at this point? Is it mental health, or is this some weird kind of like capitalist, like kind of anti-capitalist kind of thing, but being told through horror? And then it's all downhill from there, because it forgets about the mental health, it forgets about this kind of anti-capitalist approach that it's taking, and descends into madness. Is probably the best way to describe it. You have, the whole town has gone crazy. People in the town either have this weird mystical flu, but also that no one seems to be able to die from. They all get really, really ill, but they can't die. Or they take on violent tendencies. And they start attacking each other, and kind of just everyone's basically acting odd. The town has just gone mad. And then behind all this, you've got the main character being told he has to build this tree house in the woods. And this treehouse is then this portal to this other world. to backtrack, he's only built this portal because he sees a white plastic bag blowing in the wind, and this white plastic bag talks to him, and he calls this the nice man. It's his friend. It's his imaginary friend. So you can
We've all got that.
Yeah, you can see how it started with it being kind of like, oh, this is a mental health thing. This is a breakdown. It's, but so yeah, this treehouse leads to this portal, and he keeps going into this portal, and you've got the nice man in there, and you've got the hissing woman, and it's very much set up that the hissing woman is evil, she's the devil, whatever you want it to be, and the nice man is like kind of, the one helping him, the one trying to save everybody.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted just trying to sum this up.
Look at the frustration.
Yeah, so you've got him seemingly trying to save the world with these people in the treehouse in the imaginary world. You've got the town going crazy. You've then got this little boy that went missing 50 years ago, and they now find his body in the woods. And it becomes clear that he has got some kind of link to the main character at the moment, and that they both went into the imaginary world. They were both hearing these voices. Then you've got a whole myriad of other characters in the town that it keeps jumping to. It just goes on and on and on. And it just doesn't end. You get to kind of like 500 pages in, and you start to reach what would be the last like 30 minutes if this was a film, the conclusion of him defeating the hissing lady, and everything really going like really wrong in a sense, and the whole town crumbling, and some people on his side, some people not on his side, and then plot twist, the hissing lady is actually the good person, and the nice man, the white plastic bag, is actually the evil one. He's the devil.
White plastic bag.
Yes, and that is where the book then shifts and decides it's going to be a book about religion. We're going to scrap the mental health, we're going to scrap the capitalism stuff, we're going to scrap all of the kind of horror stuff. It's just religion now, and these two people, the hissing woman and the white plastic bag man, are God's children, and they are fighting each other. One of them is hell and is the devil, and one of them represents heaven and all of the goodness.
Okay.
And then you get 300 pages of, I'm really not sure what, but the main character, Christopher, trying to... At one moment he's trying to help the hissing lady, then he's against the hissing lady, and like, he doesn't know what he's doing. And then the other characters seem to jump between the real world and the imaginary world, trying to help him, and then sometimes they're not. Like, I don't think the author even knew what was going on here. The conclusion is the hissing woman is freed. She goes back to God, and she's apparently Eve. The white plastic bag man, I don't really know what he is. He seems to be stuck in hell at the end of it, and it's like... But love and God defeats hell and defeats the mean voice in your head that's telling you to do...
True, very true.
I can't sum this book up, because this book was all over the place. It was absolutely terrible. It should have been a 350-page book. It should have picked a route. Either... This is a mental health breakdown. This is talking about the wrongs of society and talking about capitalism. Or this is a book about religion and just saying that apparently love and God will overcome everything. And
pick a lane.
Yeah, pick a lane, stick in it, and maybe don't write a 300-400 page ending. There was basically a bunch of people seemingly running around a woods, and then they're back in the hospital, and we're stuck in some weird kind of dystopic world, and then we're back in the woods. And
I'm not going to read it.
No, this book clearly wanted
Don't you read it
to
either.
be a Stephen King book.
Yeah.
It didn't know what it was doing. It was terrible. It was over 800 pages of torture that I can't even sum up, because I just still don't know what it was about or what it was supposed to be about.
Merry Christmas.
Please don't read this.
And that's our bottom 3 books of 2021. Well, there's a lot more books within this series.
Yep. Don't read these. You'll be wasting
Don't
your
read
time.
these. Read the ones we've said that you should read, and then everything else we're doing. We're still kind of workshopping this. We're very professional videographers, so this is going to be put up on time and consistently, I assure you.
Yeah, very professional. As you can tell from my sum up of this terrible thing.
I like how half of this video is actually just going to be you getting progressively more and more frustrated with possibly the worst book you've read in several years.
Well, it's the fact that I also can't sum it up. I mean, I just don't know what it's about.
She's been trying throughout the whole time she's been reading it to tell me what's going on, and every single time she tells me something, I'm like, uh-huh.
We've even got, like,
But
notes
I thought
in
it was about mental health.
I can't find it now, but I wrote, like, a whole half a page, like, because it's broken into sections. At the end of one of the sections, about 200 pages in, I wrote, like, a whole half a page of notes of, oh, what's going on? Could it be this? Could it be that? And then within, like, 100 pages of that, I was like, well, it was none of that, was it? I was just completely
It was a
wrong.
misdirect.
The good news is, I read some reviews on Goodreads, and a lot of people seem to have the same problems as me. A lot of
she's not
people
alone.
can't work out what it's about and felt that the last 500 pages didn't need to exist. So I'm not alone, and I take some comfort in that.
That's some comfort.
I'd love to. Does the author even know what this book's about?
I don't think they do. They know because it's cash money.
Apart from that, do they know what it's about? Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you do leave a like down below and comment leave the like and then comment down below what kind of books you're reading and what the books that you found the worst in 2021 were. I'd like to hear it.
If you've read this and know what it's about, please let me know.
Thanks so much for watching. Merry Christmas.
Ho ho ho.